call the roll. Supervisor Murray. Present. Councilman Anderson. Here. Councilman Blakeman.
Here.
Councilman Boothby. Here. Councilman Hughes. Here. Councilman Santino.
Here.
Councilwoman King Sweeney. Receiver of taxes, Lawrence Slater.
Here.
Please call the first hearing. Preliminary budget, Town of Hempstead for fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2016. Bill Fauci. Good afternoon.
Felix Procacci, 1165 Bond Street, Franklin Square, New York. In the footnote on the 2016 budget book, the third page, it indicates total taxes to be levied is $269.6 million. On page 5 of the budget book, it indicates the total tax to be levied is $350.153 million. What accounts for the difference in the specified property tax levies?
The $269 million you refer to is the town of Hempstead tax levy. The difference being $80 million on commissioner-operated districts, of which there are 14.
Okay. Last year, New York State covered the town's tax increase because the town stayed within the tax cap. Will the state still reimburse the residents in 2016 for last year's increase?
Yes, they will, this being the last year.
Okay. So next year, the residents will absorb the tax increase.
As it currently is contemplated, that is correct.
The town-controlled special district taxes have been reduced by about $20 million from 2015 to 2016. What factors account for such a large change? And was any of the money directed to the general fund, which has increased over $20 million?
Could you please repeat that again quite?
Sure, okay. The town-controlled special district taxes have been reduced by about $20 million from the 2015 budget to the 2016 budget. What factors account for such a large change? And was any of the money directed to the general fund, which has increased over $20 million?
When you say the special districts, are you referring to the commissioner-operated districts or the town?
Well, I'm always talking towns. We're not talking about independent districts. If I'm talking about special districts here, in this context, will be the districts in which the town controls.
Your first question was about the discrepancy between the commissioner control special.
Well, the town control, these are all town control. This is not like 76 or something like that. We're not talking about any of those kind of districts. And everything I'm going to be talking about today, I'm not addressing any of that.
The answer to your question is each fund stands on its own, carries its own tax levy line. No money was diverted from those funds to the general fund.
But there was a $20 million decrease in the town-controlled special district funds, in lump sum. I think it was from 240 to 220 million, if I remember right. But it was $20 million difference. That's a very large percentage difference. And then also the general fund increased by a large sum, which I think it went from 40 to 63 or something like that. What accounts for those large moves in money?
As far as the general fund is concerned, subsequent to the budget adoption last year, Court of Appeals came out with a decision in the North Hempstead case referring to the Fashion Institute of Technology. We had to float a budget note, if you recall, and the general fund picked up $17.2 million unanticipated as a result of that decision. And in this year's budget, the general fund is budgeting $7.2 million for Nassau County Community Chargeback. That 7.2 includes approximately $5 million for the Fashion Institute of Technology, as compared to last year, 15 budget, $2.5 million.
I see you combine both those together. On the Nassau Community College, it was $2.5 8.5 last year, now Nassau Community College is 7.5 this year, so you added $5 million to it, but you didn't break it out as two separate line items, you put it all together.
Could you repeat, I'm sorry? National Community.
That's it.
National Community.
On page, well, you know, the problem is that the pages in the budget book that we got issued today and the pages on the PDF online are different. So on the PDF, on page 40 or page 99 in the book we got today, I'm not sure why there's a difference in the page numbers, but on that item, Nassau Community College chargeback is $7.2 million. Last year, the Nassau Community chargeback was $2.5 million. You're lumping up the, I would guess, the FIT chargeback with the community college. You just put it in one line item.
First of all, Nassau County is nothing more than a conduit as it relates to the community college chargeback. Therefore, any community college in the state of New York, including the Fashion Institute of Technology.
Okay. So, okay. How much borrowed money that is used to, in this budget, to meet the operating costs of 2016?
None.
No, zero.
All borrowing is for capital matters.
Why didn't the town plan on, the possibility that, North Hempstead might lose that lawsuit? Because it's been going on for many years, I believe since 2010, regarding this, some previous budget books indicated we do forward planning. We had to know that if we lost the lawsuit, we would be subjected to significant expense. So, let's ask the question this way. Did the town plan on the possibility of losing the lawsuit?
As we have discussed, if you read the two lower court decisions prior to the final appellate court decision, basically those decisions were that the Nassau County was within the right that they should have passed a resolution. So basically, council believed that as a result that they did not pass a resolution, that retroactively would not be an issue. We would prevail. Prospectively, it may be an issue pending a resolution passed by Nassau County. So we're certainly not going to budget for something that appears to be in our favor until such time as it reverses itself.
Okay. The town's appropriations for publicity in 2015 was $50,000, which I believe is the same in 2016. This year, the town, so far, in the first 9 months and 1 week, I received at my house 24 town-wide mailings, which many, if not like most of them, fall in the category of publicity. Why aren't the expenditures for these, publicity mailings, things for car shows and things like that, that's publicity. Why aren't they considered as part of the publicity department? And, so it really directs the money, gives people the sense when they look at the budget that what the town is actually spending in publicity.
That publicity account deals with town television publicity advertising, promoting town programs each year. It's been the same for the past, I believe, I want to say at least 10 years.
I understand that, but the thing is, can you tell me how much money is being spent on, I'm not talking about things like tax bills and things like when you send a notice out that there's going to be some zoning changing in a person's neighborhood, but when you do these town-wide mailings, can you tell me what the cost is for, let's say, the 24 mailings that I received, estimated cost for the 24 mailings I received this year so far?
I don't have that separated out from tax bills and other postal amounts.
But shouldn't it be separated out so people have an understanding of how their money is being spent? Because I know that 50,000 is the commercials, because I did FOIL it back in 2011, and I think it was 25,000 back then. But that's okay. I could be wrong. I mean, it's a long time. It's 4 years ago. But the thing is, the fact that we spend money on publicity with the mailings, it's definitely in the category of publicity. I believe it should be considered part of publicity. Okay. What's the current level of the general fund? You know, as of the last time we checked, as of September 30th, let's say.
I don't understand the question.
What's the current level of the general fund balance?
What do you mean by level?
Okay, for example, in the audits, they give the general fund balance at the close of 2014. It was minus $10 million. What's the general fund balance as of September 30th of this year?
We're doing a projection as to the fund balance in the general fund for 2015.
Well, what is it currently at this point in time? I understand you can't tell me as of October 7th, but let's say September 30th.
I don't have it as of September 30th. What I do have is a projection for the year.
What's the projection for the year?
$1.7 million deficit, of which this budget provides to bring it into a surplus position of $600,000 as of 12/31/16.
Okay, that was the next question. So how much of that will be through tax levy or through borrowing that's going to be bring it out of?
It's all tax levy.
Full tax levy, okay. So none of the general fund money is borrowed. I just want to be clear on that, right?
For the operating budget,
Okay. How much money is sitting in the town's bank accounts that has been borrowed? Because I know we borrowed, I believe, $80 million at the end of 2014, but has not yet been spent as of September 30th.
approximately $11 million. And I will tell you that those dollars are earning interest.
Okay. Is this considered as part of the town's reserves?
No.
So when we give a $30 million reserve, that's all cash that hasn't been borrowed?
Operating versus capital.
Has the town amended any items in the 2015 budget to allocate for the FIT costs?
Have we amended anything in the 15? No, we have not. We haven't paid this. There's been no amendment.
No, I understand. I just want to know if there was any changes to the budget because we don't get notified of that. Is there any, there is no borrowed money being used to pay operating expenses in 2016, right? That's good.
Again, operating is what we're looking at here, the operating budget. Borrowed money is for capital items.
Sure, okay. Regarding the general fund, I mean, there's a lot of advertising go around how the tax levy in the general fund has been cut over 16 years and this and that. I have the budgets going back to 2008 with me here. The tax levy, this is kind of like an explanation. The tax levy in the 2010 budget was $17 million for the general fund town-wide. That line item was $17 million. And 2015, it's $40 million tax levy. So that's more than 100% in 5 years. So we've increased taxes 100%. Is that the correct statement?
Let's certainly not forget the FIT issue, which is worth 17.2, and in 15 another 5, and in 16 another 5. So I'd be glad after the meeting to go over exactly the details.
Okay, let's go back to 2014. It was $31 million. So we're going from 17 to 31 million, and that excludes FIT. That's maybe an 80% increase in tax levy.
I can get you an itemization. I can get you the driving force behind that. I don't have that right now.
Yeah, I just, the thing is, there's a lot of, a lot of the publicity that we send out, the town sends out, talks about tax reasons and everything. But when I look at the actual levies, when I go through the audits, I see the levies going up. So, there's a confusion as to, are we freezing tax levies or are we not freezing tax levies? Why do the audits show a different number than the town's publicity advertising?
Again, this town budget is a series of funds that all basically stand on their own. With regard to the general funds, you have seen some tax increases, the FIT being a portion of it. Also, as a result and a function of the economy, our sales tax receipts, our mortgage recording tax receipts, and our other revenues in the general fund have diminished over the years. So again, I can get you a full itemization as to what drives those variances.
Now, and I understand that the consideration for when you have revenue falling on parts of the budget, like the mortgage and the taxes, the sales taxes. But where I see the difference is, why not just say in the publicity advertising that we increase taxes 75% as opposed to saying we froze them? Because that's where the confusion is, that when you're advertising the 0%, and then all the documents, the financial documents, show some other number than 0, and you just do simple math, that's where I'd like an explanation as to why do I get a higher number than 0?
Mr. Procacci, the total town tax levy is exactly the same, 15 and 16. It's a tax freeze.
No, I understand, but the thing is,
That's
well,
not what you're doing.
yeah, the one thing that was explained as the first question was those town-controlled special district taxes have gone up, and they amount for a significant portion of the taxes, and it seems like those taxes fluctuate quite rapidly with really no explanation. I've spoken before about my own experience in my Franklin Square Park district, where the town was paying, we were paying $2 million to run the Franklin Square Park district just 5 years ago. Now it's up to $3.8 million. And then when I foiled all the costs, which, in general, labor is the cost, right? So I foiled all the workers' salaries, and then you could add for pension, you could add for Social Security.
Concomitantly,
And the thing is, then you end
some
up...
districts have gone up, some special districts, and then others have gone down, so there's two sides to the ledger.
I understand. The thing is that then there's a large portion of revenue called the apportioned costs, which are outside the capital expenditures, the debt service and everything for the improvements, that can't be really accounted for, that fluctuate very large numbers with no accountability whatsoever. And that's where I see in these budgets, when you say you're freezing taxes, that you still have large swings of money going on in other places that aren't itemized.
Exactly the same, it's 269.6 million.
Yeah, I get that, but
15 versus 16, exactly the same dollars. In different funds, some may go up, some may go down, but the bottom line is it's net.
yeah, and so, but the thing is, total special districts, like I told you, went from 240 to 220 in 1 year. And I would like to know, how did you cut $20 million out of the budget without laying off any people, which people are usually the cost that drives everything. It's usually 75 to 80% of the budget of any department. So when you're getting $20 million swings, 10% swings, with no explanation, the question, any financial person would have to ask that question, why are you getting $20 million swings? Because, yeah, you're keeping the theoretical 269 number the same, but that 350 number was 347 last year, and it has gone up, the total tax levy has gone up over the years. So it really hasn't been a tax freeze. But I don't want to belabor the point anymore.
Yes, and Mr. Procacci, if you could start winding up here at 17 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd like to remind other people how long they've been at. Okay, one thing, you have an item here called torts. It's $400,000 for the 2016, $350 for 2015. I imagine that's outside counsel. Is that correct?
Now, those are town awards.
Paid out awards. Okay, okay, but it's not itemized in the budget anywhere, in the book at least.
It's in the book.
I paged through everything. Okay, I'll look again.
I should be glad to give you the page. The book is comprehensive, but when you're finished, I'll be glad to show you that.
Okay. What item or items in the book can we find how much the town spends in litigation costs that is outside the normal expenses of the town attorney's office? Besides his budget, where can I find out how much the town spends in outside litigation?
Well, again, that itemization, Mr. Conway could go over with you.
Okay, so he'll go over that with me. Okay, as I said, this year, I received 24 mailings. How many mailings has the town budgeted for in 2016?
Our mailing amount has varied very little from year to year. It's been about the same amount every year for the past several years.
Okay, 24, usually it's 25 for the whole year I've got, because I save it in a folder each year, but, okay, but it's, I looked up the salaries based on people that, working without counting benefits. I estimate it's like $2.8 million in salaries to support. We have 4 graphic artists, and God knows how many, production people, printing production. It's about $2.8 million in salaries alone. And we spend only $100,000 at best on salaries for veterans. And, I think that we should make that balance, reflect what residents really feel. If they knew that we're spending this much on mailings and production, maybe if you ask the residents, the constituents, do you think that more of that money should be directed toward veterans affairs as opposed to mailings which can be transported through email and save substantial costs and also save the environment? So I just really, that really gets me when we talk about that, because $100,000 at best for veterans and $2.8 million in salaries as a minimum for people that support this mailing program that you have going on.
Actually, because of our operational efficiencies, we have reduced overtime costs. We're projecting in 2016 by 20%, and also by doing flexible shifts, etc. We are going to have a 27% savings in our employee budget figures as well.
I applaud that.
Seasonal and part-time.
I did notice that, but like I said, $2.8 million to support a mailing program versus $100,000 to support our veterans. That in itself should be addressed, and the constituents should really be aware of how much this program really costs. And do they want their money being spent that way? Thank you very much.
Diane?
Good afternoon, Diane Madden, 243 Cherry Place, East Meadow. Just some questions in regards to the shelter budget. A question about the fees and services. I'd like to know how's that itemized?
Let me just get to that page. Just a moment. Page 121. I'm sorry, what was your question again?
The fees and services,
Fees and services,
how is that itemized?
budgeted at $240,000.
I'm sorry?
That's the budget there is $240,000.
I understand. What does that entail?
Dr. Singh, 140. Cremation costs, 50. And the animal trainer, which was formerly in the budget as a line item salary wage, 60,000. Total 240.
Okay, so the cremation is itemized differently. Is that correct?
So the 3 components of that line item are what I just mentioned. Dr. Singh, cremation, and the animal, the dog trainer, which was formerly a line item as a salary employee, which would be contract labor in this budget.
Okay, thank you. Page 236. I noticed that the assistant director position has been completely removed. I just wanted to confirm that on the record.
That's correct.
Okay. There's an item for animal shelter enrichment, $60,000. Could you explain to me why that is not there any longer? And was that a salary?
Animal enrichment, is that the?
Correct, the second one, animal shelter enrichment, $60,000.
Yeah, that's the aforementioned behaviors that we mentioned before, that I just spoke about, which no longer a line item here, but will be, or is, a contract labor item worth $60,000 in fees and services.
Okay, and where can I find, you mentioned Dr. Singh in that other item. Where can I find the other contracted vets?
If you're looking at the same page you're looking at,
Mhm.
there is a line item for a veterinarian on staff.
Okay, that would be, I'm assuming, Dr. Siegel.
Yes.
Okay, but there are also contracts with 24-hour services, I believe.
I believe that's going to be accounted for in a health account, which is the 4,900 account.
So the health account is not the employee medical benefits?
No,
So where can I find that?
that's in the undistributed.
The kennel supervisor too. Is that a position that has been done away with? Is that now the position of the person that is, from what I understand, an acting assistant director?
Can you direct me to what line item you're on?
Kennel supervisor too.
Where is that on the page? This is 50.
Almost to the middle. There's just one. Actually, it doesn't show a figure for the position. It doesn't show a number. It's right under director of the animal shelter, kennel supervisor 1 and 2.
So I'm on one page. Kennel supervisor, 2. One budgeted position in 15, one budgeted position in 16. Or 59.6 in 15, or 63.6 in 16. So it wasn't done away with.
I'm sorry, that was not added?
No, it was in the 15 budget. It was in the 16 budget. One position, kennel supervisor 2.
I'm not seeing a position where I'm looking.
I'm looking at kennel supervisor 2. You look at the budget for 15, 59,006, 16, 63,006. If there's no number to the right, that means there's only one position.
Okay, so what I'm asking then, is this position been added?
No, it was in the 15 budget, it's in the 16 budget.
So it's just one position.
Correct.
The kennel worker part-time, $10,000. Is that just vary for part-time workers?
Yeah, that's part-time positions.
And where can I find the other TNR expenses?
Other TNR expenses.
Any trap, neuter, return expenses, where can they be found?
I have to do some research on that. I'll get back to that.
Okay, thank you.
Mary Ellen Craig?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mary Ellen Craig, 436 Locust Avenue, New York. I'm wondering on the councilmanic district number 1, does that include the community development block grant money, or what area is that?
It would be in the planning.
Plan. Okay, I thought that would be.
Yeah.
So there is an amount of 4151, number 4151 is fees and services, and it's all under councilmanic district number 1. What kind of fees and services would these be, please?
That would be the consultant in councilmanic district number 1, which would otherwise, if not appear here, would be a line item on salary and wages.
And this is what kind of consultant, please?
Legal and financial.
And this does not appear on other councilmanic districts, so I'm curious, does this cover all of the districts, or is it only on this particular one?
This is just for district number 1. And you also know that district number 1, salary and wages are less than the other 5 councilmanic districts.
Thank you. since the mailing, printed agendas are not being mailed for the board or for the Board of Zoning Appeals, why don't we see a significant decrease in the expenses for printing and that type of thing? Now it's all online, you don't get it mailed out to various organizations and so on. There should be a difference as far as the costs therefore.
For the cost of the picking of the public hearing?
Right, and mailing them.
Right.
Now, this also includes advertising as well.
So that's all considered under advertising.
Correct, it's included in that line.
On the maintenance and so on, is there going to be some repair of the clock, which has been on the same time for many years? Is there any plan to repair that clock and maintain it? The tower clock?
Oh, on the old town hall? It's probably very expensive. I know, I love it. I wish it was working. I know we should take a very specialized kind of craftsman or tradesman because it is of a certain age. We're always looking.
Well, you might think of putting something instead of a clock face there. Okay, I mean, because
It's a thought.
it looks out of date. And we like to be up to date. There's a reduction for advertising, and we need to get information out on the animals, which are for adoption. That's on the animal shelter, and I'm just wondering why that was reduced from 2,500 to 1,000.
That's all based upon 2015 spending trends. So we budgeted in accordance with 15 spending.
On the highway, I don't see anything for supplies. Is that covered in a different area? I mean, it just seems odd.
In the highway department?
Yes, I see it on page 123. So is it covered on 141 to 146?
Yeah, basically, it's part of the admin charge, which is the allocation from the highway operating. So it appears that highway operating and through the admin is then reclassed to those particular budget lines.
Thank you. I'd like to give my compliments on senior services, of which I avail myself, and I find that they're really excellent, and as I say, I compliment you on them. Also, parks, very, very well done. Okay, on conservation and waterways, does that include sewers, or is that all county?
That's county.
That's all county, that's what I thought.
The conservation and waterways is more.
Our green programs, the restoration of dunes, they work in very close proximity to our parks department as well with regard to our beaches, marinas, that's conservation.
And I'd like to also compliment you on Greenfield Cemetery, which is so well maintained, and a real gem for the town.
Thank you.
I'll come back tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Read testimony?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I just have two questions. I had one question, but I'm just commenting on two more questions now added based on what I heard before. The behaviorist for the animal shelter is no longer in the budget. I've spent a couple meetings in the audience listening to how important a behaviorist is to getting these animals adopted. And the town has been talking about how their civil service tests need to be taken, and they have been searching high and low for the behaviorist, and there isn't a behaviorist. And then now the budget just got rid of the line. You could have saved us all a lot of time and just said we're phasing a behaviorist out. I guess it's not a question. I just don't understand how the animal shelter.
Apprehended, actually, we're doing away with it as a budget line, but it's going to be a contracted position instead of an employee position.
Okay, well, just as long as we get that behaviorist in, we do need to get these animals adopted. And then the other question I have, the FIT reimbursement, there were a lot of numbers thrown out. Was there a specific, and I don't see it, I see the Nassau Community College line, was there a specific line for the reimbursement for FIT?
It's within that line. If you look at that line, it's the 2015 budget, $2.5 million, which does not include the FIT. If you look at the 16 budget, $7.2 million, roughly $5 million attributable to FIT.
So that $5 million is the...
As part of the 7, correct.
Okay, thank you. Today is the anniversary of the downgrade from Moody's on the bond rating for the town. And they criticized you for spending on the reserve. Last year, you used $21 million from the reserve funds. I'm curious how much of the reserve funds you plan on using for 2016?
18.3.
18.3 in the reserve. And how much is the total of the reserve?
Currently closing out 15, we're projecting 49 million.
So I think if Moody's is criticizing us for spending that reserve, maybe we should take a look at that and try to keep it a little healthier. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and of course, we're going on a downward trend of using our reserves. Thank you. Mrs. Boyce?
I think you're all to be thanked for undertaking the weighty responsibility involved in giving oversight to this kind of budget and putting it together and planning. Part of that responsibility is communicating all of this to the public in an effective way. First of all, I wonder, is the printed version that we have in front of us exactly the same as a searchable version of this budget on the internet?
Yes.
I am awed when I go through something like this, trying to figure out where things are and what they all mean. The process of communicating all this information to the public is difficult. I understand that. You've heard me talk a number of times on the question of making the minutes available to the public of proceedings such as this and those things which preceded it. I don't know if you've had an opportunity with regard, at least to this proceeding, forgetting about everything else, but this budget hearing, which is really important because it hits everybody in a very sensitive place. Making this budget hearing available to the public, the transcript of it. I understand that the town attorney's office is going to take up with you this whole question of transcribing the minutes. And I'm hopeful that you will do that and you will make these minutes available in a timely kind of way so the public can have some better understanding. Because there is no video of this, there is no broadcast audio.
No, it's an excellent suggestion. I see no problem with that. And it would be great to let everybody know that we have a tax freeze budget for 2016.
So I'm hopeful that you will do that. Second, I've heard the exchange between the board and a member of the public concerning mailers. As I understand it, there are about, or at least from what I get, it must be about 30 district-wide or town-wide mailings that go out every year. Under different names and under, in different ways, but one way or the other, I seem to get at least 30 pieces of mail. I'm wondering, is there somewhere in here that tells me how much a mailing such as that costs?
It would be in different...
We already answered that before. And it's not 30 mailings, it's in the neighborhood vicinity of 24, approximately 25, 24, 23 a year.
Okay, how much is that? On the average mail?
I don't have that broken out that way.
Do we know it, is the question?
I don't have it broken out that way.
I hear that. The question is, do we know it?
No, I don't have that.
And it seems to me that the board ought to make an effort to educate itself as to every time you send out a mailing, what it's costing us, and what the comparable use of the internet to distribute that information. I made a suggestion that you ought to let people from the community opt out of getting postal mail and opt into getting email, because it not only saves the town money, it saves them money. Is there a place in here where the costs of the recordings that are made of this proceeding and of this court stenographer is reflected?
Yeah, there is. It's in the Department of General Services budget.
It's in the,
Department of General Services, known as DGS in the book.
is it identifiable in here?
I can get that for you. It may be commingled with something else, but I can get that for you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yes, Madam Supervisor, I move at this time that this meeting be recessed.
Oh, well, we have a second item, this application.
That the budget hearing be recessed until 7 p.m.
Second.
Go to the second.
Supervisor Murray.
Aye.
Councilman Messina. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Boothby. Councilman Hughes. Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Please call the next public hearing.
Proposed assessment roll, Greater Atlantic Beach Water Reclamation District for fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2016.
Does anybody wish to be heard? I don't have any speaking. Not may I have a motion?
Yes, I move that we recess this hearing until 7 p.m. this evening.
Supervisor Murray.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Boothby. Councilman Hughes. Councilman Santino. Councilman King Sweeney.
May I have a motion?
I move we recess the proceedings of this.
Supervisor Murray.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Boothby. Councilman Hughes. Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Thank you. This budget hearing is, will be adjourned until 7 p.m. this evening.
Yes.
2015 budget. Madam Town Clerk, if you would call the roll.
Murray.
Oh, 216, excuse me. Present.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Here.
Councilman Blakeman.
Here.
Councilman Boothby.
Here.
Councilman King Sweeney. Here. Receiver of taxes, Donald X. Clayton.
Here.
Please call the first public hearing.
Limited budget, Town of Hempstead for fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2016.
Made a Mary Day? Good evening. Could you share your name and address, please?
Certainly. Maida J. Merriday, 758 Wesley Street, Baldwin. Thank you. New York. Welcome. Where to begin? First, I just had a question with regard to, I don't really see in here the breakdown as it pertains to mailings, like the special mailings, in terms of the collateral material, what the costs are for that.
We actually went through that this afternoon.
Yeah, those are incorporated in other expenses in general services, and they're not broken out per mail. There are other publicity costs, and I think that's what I can tell you, that between, there's all sorts of categories. We have tax bills, we have other mailings, and they're not broken out individually.
So we don't have an idea of how much we actually spend on the brochures and the panel cards and things of that nature that
I
are,
don't have that breakout with you.
but that breakout does exist somewhere?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed under the Town of Hempstead refuse and disposal, the line item for advertising and promotion at 75, that's 35,000. Under Parks and Rec, the advertising and promotion is 115,000. And then under publicity on its own, that's $50,000.
The 50,000 publicity is for television promotions for the town. There is in sanitation, I believe, 25,000 allocated for television advertising for recycling programs. So those may be some of the numbers you're referring to.
I see, okay. Again, with regard to our Veteran Outreach Support Service, unless I am mistaken, I only saw one reference aside from the veteran meeting rooms for a veteran counselor one for $58,000, which was pretty consistent in comparison to other types of positions. We're paying $100,000 for a veterinarian. There's a administrative assistant that's making $91,000, and we have close to 50,000 veterans in the township of Hempstead, and we have one veteran counselor slot for $58,000.
There are two people there. First of all, the veterinarian obviously has a medical degree, so that would probably constitute the difference in salary in that area. That being said, there are two people in the veterans area. There is the veteran service counselor, and there is a support clerk.
Okay, so ideally that person makes an average what? So basically we're still paying what, less than $150,000 in total for two people to support veterans, and for example, for senior enrichment we're paying over $4 million for senior enrichment.
And we're probably one of the only towns on Long Island that has a veteran service coordinator.
Okay, and you feel that that's enough?
Yeah, I think when we stand out above all the other towns, I do think that's enough.
And you sure you stand out among the other towns?
I said I believe we're one of the only towns on Long Island.
Okay. Interesting. As I said, under the senior enrichment category, we spend about $4.6 million, which includes research assistants, community services, a minibus driver, field representatives, social workers, and it just amazes me that we continue to have issues with regard to what we're doing for the support of a proactive support for our veterans. Question about the, I guess, what is this, the town-wide tax rate? It just seemed like there was a significant increase versus the services that we are receiving, particularly those of us in Baldwin. We had a significant jump, particularly in our school taxes.
Which of course we have no control over.
Understandably. But what I'm saying is, in terms of the types of services and supports and resources that we have, if we are going to use the example that the town of Hempstead should be considered maybe a company, and you have referenced that, I believe, to paraphrase, a CEO, if we were to say that Baldwin was a division or a department, it would definitely be failing in terms of the businesses that continue to close. We used to have a Pizza Hut, that's gone. We used to have a florist, that's gone. But we have 5 7-Elevens on that same mile-and-a-half stretch. And the aspect of economic development just seems to continue to be an elusive situation.
Unfortunately, we do not control the private sector. If a corporation decides to make a business decision, we try our best to keep them in an area, but if they're a private corporation and they want to move to another area or do something else, that ultimately is their corporate decision.
So I would think that the residents there should have that decision to decide whether they want to continue to pay more taxes or more services when they don't seem to be benefiting from it. So since we're now also losing a supermarket as well.
The good thing is, actually all of Long Island is, sadly enough, A&P went bankrupt, so about 6,000 employees throughout Long Island will be losing their jobs, according to news reports with regard to the bankruptcy. But with regard to the town of Hempstead, of course, this is a tax freeze year. We're paying, the tax levy is exactly the same for 2016, the budget that we're considering, as we paid in 2015. So if there were any increases in your taxes, again, as you referenced before, perhaps it's your school board.
But again, with regard to the town-wide tax itself, that is in this documentation. I'm just questioning where that increase is coming from.
What increase? Where?
The town-wide tax base, there's an increase.
No, 269.
It's 269.4.
269.6 to the budget. 269.6 million is the tax levy 2016, which was the same amount for 2015. And with regard to your comment pertaining to Baldwin community will actually realize a reduction in taxes by 3.61%.
We're a reduction in taxes, but in terms of the services that we are still lacking, that's what I'm questioning. Like, what is being done with the monies that are in place with regard to getting some economic development in Baldwin? Because what you say is being reduced in one area, unfortunately, is being raised in another.
And that's all a function of the town's budget, which is driven by individual funds.
I see. And the focus for increasing the areas that, again, tourism, we're spending $300,000, again, in an advertising budget, that's $50,000, and I still just can't understand why we are where we are. We have, I read it here, an Economic Opportunity Act of $85,000, but for the first part of 2015, 0 was used. What is that for?
Planning economic development, is that what you're referring to? Did you have to cite a page in the budget?
It's under Planning and Economic Development. It says Economic Opportunity Act, $85,000. And the first part of 2015, there was $0 used. So if we're not using funding that's geared towards economic opportunity, my question still remains, what is it that we are doing to boost the planning and economic outreach for areas such as Baldwin that really does not have a noticeable increase? If anything, we are losing more businesses on top of the ones that were already gone in comparison to our neighbor communities.
For the last several years, of course, we do streetscapes each and every year. We poured in a whole lot of money into Coastside Park. We've done some facade improvements, as well. Those are part.
We have, but it's great to have a facade improvement, but when you have more for rent signs, having a pretty sidewalk, and we still have very poor lighting, but again, I know Grand Avenue is a county road, not a town road. I get it. But as I said, to have a pretty road and a bench in front of an empty building is not helping us any.
But we just put out an RFP for the lower western side of Grand Avenue.
Okay, but this is about the what? The fourth RFP for that?
Yes, you would be right.
Okay. I do try to keep up while I'm also trying to keep up with the increase in zombie houses. An interesting note, the under building department, unsafe buildings, anytime you want to get back to me on that answer on the economic.
Yeah, I would like to do that now.
Okay, I'm ready.
This is what we're talking about. It's an $85,000 budget. 2004, $85,000 was spent. This is an issue as to the timing of the disbursement. Those dollars were used for 5 towns community center and bilingual programs. So I can assure you that those dollars, the latter half of the year, that being post-May of 2015, those dollars will be spent.
Okay, so in other words, if we're looking at it from within 2016, we can account for the fact that that money will be spent somewhere. 2015, I'm saying.
We haven't spent anything.
Right. The first half of 2015 hasn't been spent.
As of May 31.
Right. Okay. So it should be spent somewhere.
Prior to the year end, it will be spent, yes.
I see. Okay. I think that might be about it. Oh, adventure tour, $70,000. What is that?
Can you give me a page?
Nope. It's under undistributed.
Yes, Adventure Tours is our program run through our Department of Parks and Recreation. It's a program that provides tours and cultural programs for all of the town's residents who want to participate. They do tours of Lower Manhattan, they do tours of the East End, they do all sorts of programs that a lot of our senior citizens take advantage of.
So that can be self-sustaining. Like we have to, as taxpayers, we have to kick in $70,000 to support that.
So I guess the same could be said for our parks, all of the services that the town offers, our taxpayers supported primarily.
There also, there also is revenue that we derive from that, of basically a like amount. So you're looking at the expenditure side on the tax line in terms of tax budget, but there was a revenue offset in this budget. So those seniors that might close about, and those participants actually do pay for these tours.
And with regard to our debt service, I believe it was something around $30 million. Is that for 1 year?
That's the budget note that we floated last year as a result of the Fashion Institute technology decision that came out in the North Hempstead case post our adopted budget last year.
That pertains to the chargeback or something like that?
That's correct.
Okay. So that is something that we have to incorporate in a one payment for the 1 year?
That is in 2016. Our intention is to get a judgment on it and to bond it out over a 10-year period.
I see. Okay. And lastly, under unsafe buildings, $850,000. What majority of that goes towards boarding up? Or is that separate? Is that for boarding up the houses that are considered zombie houses, or what's that for?
Boarding up is $125,000.
Okay, because what was in 2014, it was about 400, in that 400,000 range, so we're now spending just under $1 million to board up houses.
Thank you for Superstorm Sandy.
Okay.
That's a direct function of Superstorm Sandy.
Okay. So I didn't see where any of that was actually kind of invested into trying to keep some of those. Some of those are not. Those are all Superstorm Sandy houses, 850,000. All Superstorm Sandy.
The majority of them are.
This is not people who can't afford to live anymore, just running out in the middle of the night.
No, we include that as well. But I'm saying the aberration you're seeing, the jump in the most recent years, 14, 15, and 16, that jump is attributable to the storm.
Okay. Okay. So I just want to be clear that the advertising, we don't have a breakdown in terms of the number of flyers that we get, almost 20, sometimes mailings a month. There's no breakout specifically tied to that. It's just all kind of incorporated in there. Is there any way that they can be broken out so we can get a better idea of how we're expending that money?
I mean, it would be an accounting function to go through the paperwork and break it out, but it can be.
Okay. And just lastly, I just want again, just to emphasize that we spent $4.6 million for senior enrichment, but we're happy that we spend maybe $120,000 for veterans.
A portion of that money that goes to senior enrichment provides veteran services to seniors. Our veteran service counselor goes to 16 senior centers throughout the town and provides those services to all of our seniors.
And when that one counselor is there, he can't make those by appointments for the veterans that may need to have the services in the office here.
It's more convenient when it comes to their neighborhood. Certainly, many of them have difficulty traveling here.
Okay, but we can't use maybe, since they have a mobile unit under senior enrichment, we cannot look to foresee having something, a veteran mobile unit.
We have a mobile unit, but we have 16 senior centers throughout the town, which are certainly more comfortable than being in a trailer.
No, I mean specifically for veterans. I'm trying to get this township probably into the 20th century, if not the 21st century, with regard to the increasing needs that we have in our veteran community that continue to be unaddressed. And unfortunately, we wait until there's a tragedy and then everybody asks the question, what we could have done a lot better. So I'm just asking.
All the veterans into our senior centers. We don't exclude them. As I said, we certainly can use the mobile facility. This seems to work better for us and better for the veterans. 16 centers throughout the town.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, as I don't have any slips from anybody who hasn't already spoken, I'll just ask, has anybody wished to be heard who has not spoken already? Not may I have a motion.
Yes, Supervisor, I'm very pleased to move at this time that this hearing be closed and that this no tax increase budget be adopted as a budget.
No, actually, for the hearing, this is the continuation.
Right.
So if you spoke this afternoon, but if you spoke this afternoon, we speak once during the budget hearing. Mr. Boytel has the same thing.
Yeah, I suppose But I wonder, since there are so few people who want to speak, I wonder if you'd be kind
Mr.
enough.
Martel, this is a
It's-
long established, every application, if you speak once, and both of you did.
Well, just to note this, my concern is that while you have listened to the audience has never heard any discussion amongst the members of this board concerning this budget.
Well,
And that
our
is
vote will certainly
peculiar.
speak volumes.
Madam Supervisor, I'm very happy to move that this budget hearing be closed and that the tentative budget of the town of Hempstead, a no tax increase budget for 2016, be adopted as the final budget for 2016 of the town of Hempstead. And let me add and congratulate you and the controller and your entire budget team for crafting a budget that holds the line on taxes for town residents and continues once again to deliver all of the outstanding services that the residents of the town of Hempstead have come to know and expect. This will be your final budget, Supervisor, as supervisor of this township, and I want to again applaud and commend you for your outstanding fiscal stewardship of this township during your 12 years at the helm. Thank you very much.
Supervisor Marty, I would like to say that I indicated this afternoon that I would come back and finish my presentation in the evening. If somebody had said you will only have this one opportunity to speak, I would have.
Supervisor Murray.
I would have, I did not hear you say that again. If you have questions in the aftermath, we could certainly
I just
talk
wanted
to
to make sure that there is CDBG money for doing there in this budget.
you. I can assure you there will be. Absolutely.
Supervisor Murray.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Boosty.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes. Councilman Santino. Councilwoman King Sweeney.
Please call the next public hearing.
Proposed amendment for assessment for Greater Atlantic Beach Water Reclamation District for fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2016.
I don't have any speaking slips. Does anybody wish to be heard who hasn't been heard previously for this hearing?
Supervisor, I move that the hearing be closed and that the budget be adopted.
Supervisor Murray.
Aye.
Councilman Ambrosino. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Boosty. Councilman Hughes. Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilwoman King Sweeney.
That concludes the budget hearing for the 2016 budget. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
I'm sure it did. The fact is,